I decided to do a longer format of me digitizing this old football game. This game's from 1969. It sat in a dark, dingy locker room closet for what seemed like an eternity. The projector I used was one I found on eBay for about $130. It's an old DeVry projector from the 1920s. The hardest part for me with digitizing this film was to get the reel to advance one frame at a time. I figured the easiest thing to do was to use a projector where I can attach motors to whatever components I could find and then just step the appropriate distance. Figuring out the proper way to feed the reel into the projector wasn't fun. I had no clue. There were no directions, and honestly it wasn't very intuitive. Luckily I got some help online in an obscure vintage film Facebook group. Lots of weirdos like me that were kind enough to help me figure out this machine. I used two NEMA 17 stepper motors, one for the take-up reel and the other for advancing the film. I got lucky with this machine because it had just the right extensions for me to bind my motors. I looked at a few newer models from the 70s and they were really bulky, and I just decided, nah, I'm not going to go there. I tried a few different stepper motors and various drivers. Nothing seemed to work quite as well as the NEMA 17 motors I used. I also 3D printed a couple of supports to mount my motors. I decided to use a workbench power supply for my motors so I can control the voltage. I also used a cheap LED for lighting and just parchment paper to act as a diffuser. For the camera and lens, I have a Raspberry Pi HQ camera along with a microscopic lens. I use the Raspberry Pi to snap images, and then it tells my Arduinos when to move the motors. That's pretty much it. Now you just wait a really long time for your machine to take individual pictures of each frame, and it takes a long time. These are 400-foot reels, which turns out to be around like 16,000 individual images. Once you have all of your images collected, the next part is just putting them all together. I use an automator tool on my Mac to organize the files and apply a sequential naming convention to each one. This makes it easier when you import the images into your editor. I use the free version of DaVinci Resolve. Once you have DaVinci Resolve open, you basically just drag and drop your files and edit to your heart's content. The sky's really the limits with this software. There's so much you can do, and I just scratched the surface with it. It's fun to just tinker around and try to get the best quality that you can from the film. This film is really old, and it wasn't taken care of, and it's slowly degrading. Maybe one day I'll look into enhancing the quality with some AI. Once you're done editing, this is the final content you end up with. It's not bad for sitting in a basement for over 50 years. Thanks for checking out my video.